Thank you for tuning in to episode 2 of In the Chair. Today's guest is going to be Justin Draper. He owns Jadablitz Fitness, a food prep company, and a restaurant. We're going to be chatting about fad diets, how to be healthy, how to work out, when to do it. Stay tuned. Check it. We're having fun.
Yeah, the city usual, yeah.
Okay, so I've been cutting you for 7 years now, and since then, you've been a weekly client. The week of your wedding, you were a 4-time a week client.
I had to look sharp.
Yeah, you had to look sharp. Fill the people in on who you are, because I know who you are, but they don't know who you are, and what you do, and what you are today.
Sure. My name is Justin Draper. I own Jadablitz Fitness on Transit Road. I started off as a personal trainer 15 years ago, believe it or not. And
Yo, you know what's funny?
What?
A long time ago at World Gym in Williamsville,
yeah,
I used to always see you training. You used to drive the CTS, the all-wet CTS.
the caddy. I had the caddy.
I'm like, who is this guy? He's always got the fresh clothes on, and like, I wasn't really a big workout guy, but the one day you complimented my sneakers. They were some Nike like shock joints, straight up.
Love me some kicks, man.
Yeah.
Love me some kicks.
Yeah.
Gotta appreciate them.
Okay, so 15 years ago.
Yeah, so 15 years ago, fresh out of college, I went to Buffalo State. I played football there. Did business management and health and wellness minor, and so training has always been really a big part of my life, playing athletic sports, and so also just like health in general has just been super important in my life from a physical standpoint, that I just wanted to be able to carry that over to a lot of other people and change lives. And so at the age of 21 years old, I had pretty much a full client book from 5 o'clock in the morning to about 7 p.m. I would just work constantly. At the commercial gym, World Gym on Sheridan. And so I was actually there for about 8 years. But I had the vision of opening my own place one day. And so that was something that I was working towards for a long time, and putting all those long hours in and building up a clientele and taking care of them. And, still to this day, I have 5 clients that have been with me since day one. So it says a lot about me, it says a lot about them. It's definitely a testimony to that for sure.
How do they look?
They look great. I mean, a lot of them have been part of my wedding, just part of my family. They see me go through a lot in life, and it stems more outside of the gym with a lot of my clients. And I think that's kind of where the value is built as a personal trainer. Sure, X's, O's are great, but can you relate to a lot of people, whether they're dealing with different struggles in their life, or maybe they just simply love the gym and it's an outlet for them. So it's something.
It's like in this business, it's not just being able to be good at training or cutting hair. It's being able to be the ear to listen. It's being able to be, give advice, talk to people, to give them,
Exactly. I think you nailed it right there when you said listen,
Oh, bro.
So
2
sometimes.
ears to listen, 1 mouth for a reason.
Exactly.
Training in a commercial gym to owning 1,000 square feet, and now you are owning
30,000 square feet, yeah.
How many trainers and how many people work?
So underneath the Jadablitz umbrella, we have 24 to 26 employees. We have about 14 trainers and 5 full-time trainers where they're doing over 100 sessions per trainer per week, and that's half-hour sessions too as well.
Wow.
So yeah, we built this thing further than myself, and we built the brand, and it's I owe a lot to my wife. I want to definitely mention her. She's been the brains behind it, and my amazing staff and operation managers and things like that, because I can never do this all by myself. As you know, running your own business, it's nice
a lot
to
better when you got 2 brains working toward one thing then.
Absolutely. I mean, so.
And a lot of the time, you're still training people, and you're still doing
I'm still on the floor, and people people are always like amazed, like, wow, you're still on the floor after all these years, of 15
dude,
years.
it's what you love to do.
I know where my strengths lie,
Yeah.
and it's on the floor, dealing with people and just being relatable and you know, pushing people out of their comfort zone and then having them achieve something that they never thought they'd be able to achieve before.
Yeah.
Like that's, to me,
Facts.
getting that daily gratitude from that is what fuels me every day to get up. You know,
So-
I get up at 4:15 in the morning, not because I'm hardcore or anything, just because you know, that's when I start my day.
Yeah.
But it's,
Bro, you
I
probably
still
could-
look forward to it
you
every day.
probably couldn't sleep until 9. Oh, you probably could. 'cause
Nah,
I could. But
yeah.
I definitely could.
Yeah, I can't. It's hard. Yeah, I'm wired this way. I'm such a structured person, so
This has been, 10, 15 years in the making.
yeah.
You got the new gym. You just explained why people should listen to what you have to say. So what I want to talk about today, I want to talk about all these fad diets I keep hearing about. I want
Yeah.
to talk about, the intermittent fasting, people not eating for, 25 hours in a day, and then
Yeah.
binging on pizza and
Yeah.
burgers. And I'm kind of looking for you to debunk some
Yeah.
of the things and prove, anything that's true. I want you to talk about why it's true and pretty
Yeah.
much why certain diets work. And I know we've talked about, but it's not really a diet, it's a lifestyle. But let's just, I guess, get into a couple things.
I think you mentioned it right there. It's like, it is a real thing, and people do get caught up in the latest fads. And I think it's just with all the resources that are available to us right now with the internet and just, quick, instant Instagram or Facebook and things like that. So, it's hard to get across to people that want these instant results right away like that. When I let them know and I sit down, I'm like, hey, listen, fat loss is going to take a little bit longer than a 3-week period, and people don't want to hear that, right? They want the fat gone yesterday.
Yeah, I'm out. I'd rather just
Right.
be fat.
So to sit down, so that's when you have to really sit down and you have to educate your clients and people that really want to make this a lifestyle of how do you count your macronutrients and what are your macronutrients? Some people come to me and don't even know what that is, and it's just simply your protein, your carbs, and your fats, and so
macros aren't is it like the polysaturated fats and the saturated fats and so? It's
well that's underneath just fats in general.
Okay.
But you have your different micronutrients your minerals and your vitamins that you need to account for as well. But what my approach is with clients is more on the flexible dieting approach, where we don't really look at food either good or bad. I don't really believe in cheat meals. You always ask me what do you want to eat after your show, or what do you crave, and it's if there's something that I want, if there's something I want to eat, I'm going to eat it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if I want to go out to Hutch's, right, and me and my wife want to have a steak with some garlic mashed potatoes or something like that, I just know that earlier in the day I just have to scale back some of my carbs and my fats, and knowing that I'm going to have a meal that's going to be a little bit more caloric dense. And so with that, I'm able to kind of sustain and maintain, a relatively, lean physique, whatever it is, based on your goals or whatever you want to do. You can kind of just pick and choose your battles when it comes to that. And it also gives you a better food relationship, right? When you understand proper nutrition and how it really affects your body, I think that's key, because that allows someone to adhere to. And adherence to me is probably the number one thing when it comes to any kind of nutritional stuff like that. If you can't adhere to a diet,
You ain't gonna stick with it.
no, 9 times out of 10 you're not gonna stick with it. So I always tell people, and I always work with people in their lifestyle, and no one has the same lifestyle, right? So
for instance, you don't eat. Justin doesn't drink. You've never had alcohol.
I've never had alcohol in my life.
Never had
ever.
a sip of alcohol. You don't eat. I've never seen you eat a sweet. I can't get you to eat pizza. I can't get you to sniff orange juice. I can't get you to do anything.
But that's just me. I'm a little bit more extreme, and I don't ask my clients to do the same thing at all, right? So that's just me personally. But when it comes to my clients, I understand that there's going to be things that arise or some circumstances that are going to come up that they're just not going to be able to track their food intake, right? So I like to educate them and say, hey, listen, that's okay. You can go out and eat a sensible meal, and you didn't blow your diet. Mm-hmm. You can get back on the next meal or the next day as if it never happened and continue to proceed with your goals. That's the problem. It's when people have a meal that's untracked or a cheat meal or something like that, it tends to lead to a couple days, and that's kind of where the damage is done.
So what's the equation to like eating versus working out? Like,
I never like to put a percentage on it when it comes to like it's 80% diet, it's 20% weights, because
it's everything working
They're
together.
all relevant.
Okay.
Every single one of them is relevant when it comes to that. If you're not in the gym with the same intensity to break down muscle tissue and optimize performance, the nutrition is not going to mean that much.
Okay.
So it's everything. It's sleep. There's many variables. It's sleep, it's water, it's supplementation, it's hydration. It's everything.
I always like talking about what I hear in the barbershop.
Yeah.
Because if I'm hearing it in the barbershop in the workday several times, and that's like the in thing, what's the word on keto?
Man, that's just, a lot of people really never reach ketosis. They think they're getting there, but they're really not. So I think people have like a false interpretation of what it actually is.
Okay.
To me personally, I just know that it doesn't, I don't respond well to it. And I guess it really depends on the person. If somebody responds well to, higher protein, higher fat, and lower carb, then by all means go for it. Like I'm not against any diet per se. If it comes down to adherence. Like if you can stick to that type of diet, then go for it. But if after 3 weeks or a month you're like back to your old ways or you just can't sustain it, then it's no good.
Okay.
So that's kind of how I've kind of developed my approach with nutrition, simply because I've done it myself and I've lived this lifestyle and I've worked with hundreds of clients online and in person. So.
Okay, so now in terms of like being able to like keep after a diet.
Yeah.
For you for the week, do you like portion out all like do you cook 1 day a week for like the week of what you're gonna eat? Or...
Yeah, for sure. I mean, preparation is key with anything, right? Just like even just running a business, right? If you're not prepared ahead of time, you're probably gonna fail. So it's the same thing with your nutrition. What I'll do is I'll have a bunch of chicken that's cooked, possibly some meats. Okay. I'll have some rice. I'll have some potatoes. I keep it pretty basic. I'm a pretty busy guy, so I want my time spent being productive and not just in the kitchen always just prepping food like that. And I also I have a family, right? So I want quality time with my wife and my kid, and I don't want to just spend all day in the kitchen like that. So
how long does it take you?
I've got it pretty mastered, but I can probably do a lot of my preparation within probably about an hour.
Okay.
Hour and a half. But I'll do that maybe on Sundays and Thursdays, so I'll split it up. So I just won't do it, for the entire week. I'll have a couple days where I kind of split it up.
Okay, so now for everyone watching this, because this is where I struggle. I'll wake up, I'll eat breakfast. Have my coffee, eat some breakfast.
Yeah.
Lunchtime comes around, I'm not always eating lunch. Then I'm like snacking, and then like dinner time comes, and I'll like slam like a huge dinner time meal.
Yeah.
So like I'm not really a huge weightlifting guy or whatever yet. I want to be yet. But what are some like midday snacks or ways to like get your macros in, when you're kind of on the go and maybe you're not around a microwave to heat up meals, like what are some like easy snacks?
That's a good question. So I always ask a lot of my clients, I'm like, I tell them like, protein is probably the most satisfying macronutrient. It takes the longest to break down as well. So
sort of like fills you up the longest?
It fills you up, yeah. If we can get like a nice hearty breakfast in or whether it's, eggs or, low-fat cottage cheese or even just like a protein shake or something like that. Even some like good deli meats are even fine. Just to get some protein in that's going to kind of hold you over.
Okay.
And then until you get to your mid-afternoon, if you want to call it a snack. I'm not a firm believer in snacks. I feel like snacks kind of lead to more hunger issues down the road. And I think that's kind of what you're getting into. Yeah. It's like, you have a snack and you're like, oh my God, by the time dinner comes, you actually want a meal. So instead of having just a snack, let's have a whole meal that's actually caloric dense with like a protein, carb, and a fat, right? So it slows it down a little bit, right? So like something that I would have or a lot of my clients would have would be like, some form of lean protein source, whether it's lean beef, whether it's fish, whether it's chicken, whether it's turkey, and then you can accompany that with, a sweet potato, red potatoes, brown rice, quinoa, white rice. You can add your vegetable for your micronutrients. It could be any kind of greens, peppers, mushrooms, spinach, Brussels sprouts, green beans, and then have a healthy fat too, right? That'll slow down the digestion of that meal. So I'll use avocado, I'll use whole eggs, coconut oil, olive oil.
Do you cook with coconut oil?
No, I just use I use Pam.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I use Pam. If I'm doing like eggs or something like that, or.
Okay.
But so yeah, so if you have a meal that's a little bit more balanced, you're gonna probably not be as hungry when it comes to dinner. And this way, you can kind of just have like another balanced meal when it comes to dinner, and not feel like you need to gorge yourself and feel like crap.
Here's a good question.
Yeah.
So, is it true that, because like it's my mom always told me, well, whatever. But is it true that slamming like a giant meal before bed is worse for you than, like maybe if you had that giant meal like, for lunch? Does it really matter? Or
it still comes down to calories in versus calories out. The timing is kind of really irrelevant. It also depends on like, what you're doing as far as exercise. A lot of people they work out in the evening, so their post-workout meal is their last meal of the night.
Yeah.
So it really depends on the person and what their situation looks like. But let's just say that you were working out, in the morning. I like my clients to actually have a meal that consumes of a protein, carb, and fat before bedtime. So this way they can kind of use that fuel for their morning workouts.
So does that debunk the intermittent fasting of like, eating, whenever at night and then not eating till like, noon the next day?
Again, that really depends on the person. I mean, if someone likes to eat in a certain window, then go for it. If it fits their lifestyle, if they're busy and they're just not a breakfast person, and they could adhere to eating from 1 o'clock to 9 o'clock and they shut it down, then go for that. But all it is just a smaller window to eat less calories.
Okay.
Right? If you're up for 16 hours a day and you're eating for those 16 hours, you're probably going to eat a little bit more calories than in a window of 8 to 9 hours, correct?
Correct.
So that's kind of where I see like.
So as long as you're getting the calories in and the protein in,
Yep.
It doesn't matter whether you eat it all in one meal or if you span it out throughout the day.
I still believe in having protein at each meal for protein synthesis purposes. You want to get the right amino acids to kind of spike every 3 to 4 to 5 hours like that.
Okay.
But carbs and fats can vary really based on your preference. I know some people that really respond well to having a nice big pre-workout meal, and I know some people that don't like to have a lot of food in their belly when they go to work out. So it's trial and error. It's, for me as a trainer, it's getting biofeedback from my clients and seeing how they feel and how they respond, and and just collecting data on them. And once you have some data and you can see how they're looking, how they're feeling, and then you can kind of help them and let them know what their next move would be.
Do you eat ice cream?
Do I eat ice cream? I'll eat ice cream.
You put some ice cream down?
I'll definitely put some ice cream down.
Okay.
Absolutely.
My problem is the sugar.
The sugar?
And everyone in this barbershop that works at this barbershop, dude, it's the candy. We just slam candy. And isn't sugar like the worst? Like if there's one thing that everyone should eliminate, wouldn't it be sugar?
I wouldn't say that. At all. No, I don't think it's the sugar that's really affecting people as much like that. Again, it really depends on if the person is actually working out or not like that. If someone's like very sedentary and they're not working out at all, I mean, yeah, sugar is probably not the best thing for them. But if you're working out and you're expending calories and things like that, I mean, eventually all your carbohydrates will turn into sugars anyways, and just depends on the different rate in which the carbohydrates are ingested.
What's the worst thing you see people do that literally makes you like cringe? Like if you're out or if you're like, maybe not even at a restaurant, like maybe just like, you read on someone's status, like what's like the one thing that you're just like.
I think it's just like, I wouldn't say it's just, I wouldn't just say it's one thing. I think it's people don't stick with things long enough
for them to work.
So they set their macros or they set their training program and they gave it 2 weeks and they're like, oh, I'm not seeing results. It's like, oh my God, you need to give yourself 3 months to 4 months before you can even evaluate if you're seeing results or not. So that's probably like the biggest thing to me. It's probably that and people telling me that they want results, but they're not consistent with what they do. So they'll pick a couple days out of the week where they'll track their food or watch what they're eating, and then the rest of the time they're not, but they still want results. It's like they're not really putting their time in like that. So that's probably frustrating, but again, I'm here to help people when it comes to nutritional stuff. So I don't really judge anyone when it comes to that. I have my ways of doing things, and I'm constantly learning. I'm constantly listening to certain podcasts every day, and evolving with, even though I've been in the industry for 15 years, I constantly, and my wife yells at me all the time, I'm constantly just listening and trying to soak up as much knowledge as I possibly can.
Dude, because you have to. Because you have to.
Yeah.
That's how you stay sharp.
Yeah.
If someone just wanted to get involved in fitness, and all they knew is they didn't like what they looked like in the mirror, what would they do? What are the simplest things? Like if you had to tell someone to start in fitness, what would you tell them to do?
Yeah, so I think the first thing is you have to come to like a realization with yourself that you have to commit to this, and without commitment it's not going to happen, right? So that's the first thing. Okay. Just realizing that you need to make a change, and then committing to it, and whatever that is, because there's going to be days that completely suck. I'm not going to lie. Okay. There's going to be days you're not going to want to stick to your diet, you're not going to want to work out, you're not going to want to do your cardio, okay? You're just not motivated for whatever reason it is, right? It's going to happen. It's how do you overcome that? How do you not let that just trickle into weeks and months and years of just not starting your fitness journey?
I'll start tomorrow. Yeah.
It's whether it's keeping a diary, whether it's listening to a motivational speech, or just getting into a routine. And once you get into a routine, just checking the boxes. Every single day when I wake up, I check the boxes. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna train my clients. I'm gonna read 10 pages. I'm going to listen to a podcast. I'm gonna reply to this many emails. So have a checklist in the morning, and make on there, I have to exercise for X amount of time. I have to eat my meals, and make that a daily commitment. And when you commit to something like that,
you're in.
You're in.
All right. It's looking good. That's one benefit, though, of you posting all those selfies. I always get to see my fresh cut and say,
right.
That's me. Hopefully I don't ever slip up one week.
Right.
It'll be permanently documented. So, it's a little later in the evening now. What's going to be the pre-bedtime meal?
My pre-bedtime meal. So, I'm a huge fan of protein, and a lot of people don't know what that is, but it's just simply protein in oatmeal. So what I'll do is I'll cook my oatmeal.
Okay.
Sometimes I'll cook it a little bit longer on less power of the microwave to get a little bit more.
Instant oats, right?
Yeah, just instant oats, nothing crazy, whatever. I'll cook it for 4 minutes, right? I'll get the oatmeal just to get so much volume, and then I'll throw snickerdoodle protein in there.
Okay.
And I'll mix that in all together, and I'll put frozen blueberries, not regular blueberries, frozen. There's something about those frozen blueberries.
Okay.
And I'll put some almond butter in there, and that's my nightly. I'll eat that, about an hour to 2 hours prior to bed, let it digest a little bit. I sleep like a baby.
Do you use the casein protein before bed?
Casein, not
all right,
casein.
Dude. Well, what do I know?
Casein protein.
Damn it.
The snickerdoodle it's a mix of casein and concentrate. So.
It's like casein.
Put it in a cast.
Damn. I have some of that at my mom's house.
The casein?
Yeah, from back in the day when I was really pumping iron.
Oh god, probably expired.
Definitely expired.
Oh.
I had the 10-pound bag.
Oh yeah.
Got that expired. Now I'm on my vegan protein.
Oh jeez.
You know about that?
Not about that vegan life.
Protes.
You gonna have some of that?
Sure.
Money.
That's the top link.
I like it. Looks good. It's perfect. Nice blend. That's what we do.
Thanks for watching our video. If you want to see more, subscribe, like, comment, let us know how we did. If not, you.